our tenant there said that they were moving out. So we thought, let's try Airbnb. Let's just try something new. So in part of my due diligence, I went onto Airbnb and was looking at different places in Edmonton to see how they were priced, how occupied they were. And I kept seeing the same two faces on many different listings. And I was like, how are these people doing this? I don't understand. They must be multi-millionaires to have this many properties.
Welcome to the VIP Financial Education YouTube channel where we help you go further, faster financially. I'm your host, Michael Matthew. Guys, we've got a really phenomenal episode here today. We've got a living, breathing, walking testimonial, actually two of them, a husband and wife team that are just knocking it out of the park right now. We've been doing videos now for, a couple years with Michael and Katrina Stead. They are operating the BNB Bootcamp that so many folks that have been on the channel have had tremendous successes with. That's why we keep bringing them back here on the channel. Obviously, if we were getting negative reviews, negative feedback from the channel, as we are your advocates, you would not continue to see their pretty faces. Fortunately, we get to look at them time and time again because the results we are getting continue to be very, very impressive. So that being said, we've got Nick and Daniella on the call here today on the Zoom. Nick and Daniella, thank you for taking time out of your day and joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited.
Yeah. Now, where are y'all located?
We're actually in the same place, Michael and Katrina. We're in Edmonton, Alberta, in Canada.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry.
It's not winter yet. You can be sorry.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real. Yeah.
You guys have been in winter now for what, 3 months?
It snowed this week. So
we actually did get snow this week. So yeah, it's a true story. But
yeah.
Wow. And if you don't mind sharing your professional background.
Sure. You want to go first?
Yeah. I'm a nurse. I started nursing back in 2009. So I've been doing that for a little while now, and I also have my license in real estate as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I worked for the same company for quite a while. We're in distribution, so we sell all of the underground waterworks material, pipe, fire hydrants, manholes, things like that. I'm the senior operations manager for the company.
Okay, got it. Now, are you guys still gainfully employed there?
We are. Obviously, the plan is to not be, but for the time being, we are. Yeah.
Now, how did you guys find Michael and Katrina?
I think it's to me it's interesting, at least. But we have a basement suite that we've rented out for it was maybe only a year since we set it up, and our tenant there said that they were moving out. So we thought, let's try Airbnb. Let's just try something new. So in part of my due diligence, I went onto Airbnb and was looking at different places in Edmonton to see how they were priced, how occupied they were. And I kept seeing the same two faces on many different listings. And I was like, how are these people doing this? I don't understand. They must be multi-millionaires to have this many properties. So no advanced sleuthing here, but I did look up their profile and then looked up Michael and Katrina Airbnb Edmonton. And one of the first listings that popped up was actually a YouTube video with VIP Financial. And I watched that. And from there, saw there was a link to BNB Bootcamp. I watched all of that. This was over the course of one night. So it was several hours that I spent
binge watching YouTube. We've all been there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm there often. And so anyways, reached out to Michael and Katrina, set up a meeting, and then was actually, I've been into real estate investment for a couple of years now, but never looked at rental arbitrage or partnerships or anything like that. And was looking at a slow growth with investment and saw the opportunity here. Told Daniella about it, and I wasn't actually expecting her to be as excited as she was. I thought she was going to be pretty cautious after our first meeting, but she was quite excited about it. And then we started down that path with Michael and Katrina.
Got it. Now, you guys have been doing it how long at this point?
We started March. Yeah, we started training in March. Didn't get our first property up, being the one that we're in right now, but didn't get that running until early April, but doing it since then.
Got it. Now, how many properties have you had under your control, or do you currently have under your control right now?
So we have,
And what percentage of those do you guys own? You said you have been an investor. Did you convert some of those into short-term rentals, a combination of two with, that and arbitrage / partnership deals, or kind of what's your breakdown, if you don't mind?
sure, yeah. So the only property that I own that we're doing Airbnb on is this current one for our basement. We're actually planning on, we're doing a renovation and a flip on a house that I was planning on selling. But Daniela really wants to move into it. So we may move into that and then convert the upper stories of this current house into another Airbnb. In terms of properties, we have online, I would say 4. We've got 2 others that Michael and Katrina actually brought to us for an apartment building. Those are coming online in this next week. So that'll be 6. And then we have 2 more in the pipeline for November. So 8 so far.
Since March.
Since March, yeah. Yeah. We set the goal of one per month, and we're really falling behind, but slowly taking steps to get back to that.
So yeah, and let's kind of break that down. So if the goal were 1 a month, just based on obviously having gone through the boot camp and continuing to go through the boot camp, what type of time allocation are you guys finding, in order to get that 1 property or 2 properties?
That's a good question. Maybe that'd be best to answer that.
Well, I would say that we're very careful about which properties we select. So we were in a situation where we were offered a couple different properties in different parts of the city, and we just felt like it wasn't necessarily in line with the way that we wanted our business to look. Like, just the neighborhood maybe wasn't quite what we wanted. So we could have had more by now, but because we've been so careful, we've kept the number lower. And I feel like that's actually been better for our business. So I would say the way that we've been doing it previously, I would say about 1 a month.
But in terms of how much time allocation to get that, like in terms of contacting people and then getting it set up, I would assume is what that was.
Well, if we're saying starting from the very beginning, where we don't know the homeowner at all, it takes like, I would say I spent a week or so trying to contact different people and then arranging a meeting. And then going to see the place and then getting it set up, maybe longer than that, maybe like a month to 6 weeks sort of a thing.
Yeah, that was slow. I think it in terms of hours is probably best, because a lot of people that are coming into this are full-time job. So
that's
hours was what I was really looking for there. Yeah, maybe I wasn't probably very clear on the question, but yeah, just on a week to week basis, are you 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week?
Yeah. I would say the setup is obviously the heaviest lifting in terms of getting things ready. Michael and Katrina teach about having a team and designer and people that do that for you. We have a designer, which is really great, but we still do a lot of it. Daniela does most of it. That setup time is probably 15 hours.
Setup time, yeah.
To find a deal, it's not a lot to send out messages and to meet with people. That takes a little bit of time, but if I were to guess,
not much.
In total, it's probably a 20-hour process over the course of those weeks. But in terms of operating those businesses, for us, now that we have all of our automations in, maybe an hour to 2 hours a month per property, maybe.
Wow. That's the number that I was looking for right there, that absolute bottom line. Of course, everyone knows, and those of you that are watching the channel, it does take time. There is a learning curve when you're starting anything new, of course. The foundation needs to be set the right way. Guys, if you want more information, BNB Bootcamp at VIPfinancialeducation.com. If you know that you are ready to get more information and take that next step, go ahead and send an email there. Include conversation in the subject line, your first name, your last name, and your phone number in the body, and someone from their team will reach out to you right away. Guys, let's dive into the training. So What's that onboarding process look like? And kind of before we go down that path, one of the things that you said was, you were maybe looking at houses that were in not so attractive areas. I assume that's part of the training. Getting inventory is one thing. Getting the right inventory is something entirely different. You have to market that house. If you've got a house in a war zone and there's bullets whizzing by at night, that's not necessarily going to be something that you're going to want to feature on the ad. So, getting the inventory in, you're spinning your wheels, obviously. That's part of the training, I assume, that they're kind of teaching you what to look for, specifically what not to look for. And by virtue of that, you guys were able to save yourselves a lot of time by taking a quick glance at the property and realizing it was not a good fit for your portfolio. Correct me if I'm wrong, that was part of the training. What else did you guys learn? Just a couple tidbits through that onboarding process that maybe kind of gave you that aha moment or really stood out like, wow, we're really being handled the right way here. Felt good about the training, and I'm assuming it's as advertised?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it's taken a little bit of a different form with group sessions now. We had one-on-one sessions, and they were great. In terms of your comment about the right locations and bullets whizzing by, in the short-term rental world, that's called an experience. So you can
you can ask for that. I mean, there's a box you can check. I would like to potentially be shot at. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, but yeah, certainly they talk a lot about those things. And I don't know, they have several modules which are all very specific to setting up a business, setting up a property, and making sure that you automate it. The common theme that I read in terms of reading between the lines was around sustainability and automation, sustainability of not going crazy with scaling as the business grows. And so for me, when I look at different properties, they didn't necessarily mention much about here's the right type of neighborhood, because Airbnb or VRBO or any other short-term rentals can work in most places. But in terms of sustainability and not ripping out your hair, it did help me to think about factoring in what are the pain points that are going to come from a property like this that may have these potential problems or complaints, and how do we avoid those types of things. In terms of the full-on training, it's quite comprehensive. I would say the only feedback is probably more to do with myself than Michael and Katrina. What they're doing is that I'm very detailed, and so I have a lot of questions about things. They're nodding their heads because I sent them lots of different questions, very minute and specific questions.
You like to get granular. Yeah.
They've always been great at answering them, but in the actual modules, they weren't there. So it's been a great experience overall.
Well, they've obviously been really great clients and have taken action, and that's why they're at the place they're at now. But they brought up a few important points we want to emphasize. So the biggest thing is, they mentioned about, finding the right kinds of units versus just getting into a property, right? Because, the evolution we've come to with our business is that we really want to focus more on quality versus quantity, because one, if you focus things that are quality, you're going to have a lot less headaches than things that are not quality, because things that are not quality seriously produce headaches. But the second point of that is the income potential between those prospective properties is vastly different. So, we know colleagues and we know people in our space that have literally hundreds of doors, but the amount of actual money that they make from them is it's pretty thin.
Yeah.
Right?
And essentially that's the volume game.
The volume game.
And that's a different angle with it. But the thing is as you increase volume, you can increase headaches, right? So just taking the angle of quality over quantity, the thing is when you have quality places, you can have that premium, you can charge that extra margin, right? And then the headache factor goes down because you don't have the volume, and you have to have more team members, more expenses, more moving pieces, right? So if you have that quality and that margin in there, that makes sense. So I really love that you guys took that look at that and you wanted to create a brand around the quality component of it. You guys turning that down, that's not a way of weakness. It's really a showing of strength, because you're really choosing your business and choosing what you want to put out there.
The other important point you brought up was time involved, right? Because we don't sugarcoat it that when you get into this business, the work element is definitely front loaded, right? Setting up a place, that is heavy lifting. That takes effort and grit and guts to do.
I know, like,
right?
Daniella, like, the places are beautiful. Like, she does like farmhouse style to the T. It looks gorgeous, right? And she takes that experience level to the next level. It's beautiful, right? But they have that brand and that the way to actually shape it, like, they hit Airbnb on the head, because that's exactly what you can do. You can have themed places, beautiful places that have an experience type stay that you wouldn't have at a hotel or a normal house. So they've done really key specific things that have excelled them forward, and we're really proud of that.
Thank you. Good job.
They're proud of you guys. No, that's fantastic. We continue to get phenomenal feedback about you guys, Michael and Katrina, again, to our audience. That's why we continue to bring you guys back. We've got 2 more smiling faces here that are again singing you guys' praises. So you guys are clearly doing something right. I love the training component of that. I think that's what separates, one coaching program versus the other. The modules I think are phenomenal. You can do that kind of self-training once you have access to all of that information. So you're not simply just reliant on a 30-minute or 1-hour phone call once a week. There's so much that you guys can be doing, obviously, to perpetuate your business. If you don't mind sharing maybe a recent deal, that you guys have put together, what is that projecting over the next, call it 12 months? What did you guys have to put into it? What do you expect to get out of it? If you don't mind doing a deal breakdown for me.
Sure.
Which one do you want to do?
I was just thinking about that. You want one that's already ongoing, or one that we have coming up?
Let's do one that you've already got on the books.
Yeah, let's do Hamptons.
Okay, yeah, Hamptons. That was our first foray into what ended up being a rental arbitrage, just due to the homeowners' finances. However, he's been really great, and 3 of our properties have been from him now. We've actually scaled up with him quite quickly. So the Hamptons, that was a duplex, so semi-detached home, 3 bedrooms with a basement, and actually, to be honest with you, not in great shape. We were a little bit desperate at first just to have somebody say yes. I think that's the hardest part, is that first one.
Yeah.
But we worked with the landlord, and the reason we moved forward with it was because of what a good person he is, and he's turned out to be a great partner, even though it's not in a partnership. So we ended up actually, it took a little bit longer than we thought, but we actually ended up repairing all of the walls, repainting the entire house, and split the cost with him. Typically, we wouldn't do that, but we wanted to make it go well. And Daniella furnished it. That one we furnished with the painting and the repairs. That cost us more than we were expecting. I think it was around $18,000. We've since learned from that. The next house, which is the same type of house with the same landlord, that only cost us, I think, about $13,000. So we're getting better as we go along. That one, I think, month to month, all expenses in, is round numbers $2,500, and I think on a low end it'll make $3,500 a month. On a high end, probably $5 or $55 in the busier months, I think, is probably where it'd be. Michael and Katrina probably know better than us. We haven't gone a full year through, but I think that's roughly the numbers. Yeah,
on that type of house, that I remember you guys sending us that deal. That would be pretty accurate. So really, because one of the criteria we use when we're evaluating potential deals is criteria number 1 is it has to make at least $1,000 a month net cash flow. Otherwise, it's probably just not worth your time, right? And
$1,000 a month, averaging over the year. Some months might be lower, some months it might be higher, right? So just taking that average throughout the year. So that's one way to actually look at it. So when you guys are kind of doing that math and you're looking at 3,500 upwards of 5,500, 6,000, 100%, right? And you're showing, especially in our market in Edmonton, our summers are beautiful here, and we have festivals, and it's really nice. Winter, it is -40. It's cold. They call it Deadmonton because it's literally like a dead town. Like nothing happens during that time, and it's very, very cold. So you might have the down season, right? But still, to make a profit in the down season, that's a really good sign as well. Yeah, we've certainly seen it. We're just coming into it, but
September and October have still been profitable months, which has been great for us.
Looks like you're going to walk away with about $1,500 monthly in profit on that. So what is that going to be, 9 or 10 months until you guys get your initial investment back?
Yeah, exactly. And I think even beyond that, when it comes to this business, at least for us and for a lot of people that are going into this, I think it's more about a lifestyle and moving to different type of occupation, one that you're running yourself. Mm-hmm. And so to me, even though the payoff or 100% payback of that is 9 to 10 months, immediately $1,500 is adding to the cash flow per month, which is adding to your lifestyle. So to me, that's more valuable than the actual timeline of payback, is if there's that consistent cash flow that's adding up each month.
Well, no, you're initially investing in that cash flow, of course, but to have a payback, I mean, I don't care what it is, any type of investment, if you're getting paid back in less than a year or less, I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, show me investments out there like that, or many investments out there like that, and I'll start writing you checks and we can invest in those things together, because that is just not something that you find every day. So, 8 or 9 or 10 months might sound like a long time to you guys, but in the grand scheme of things, for an absolute return on your investment, and then you're operating in the black moving forward, that is just lightning speed. And then, like you said, you guys are recognizing that cash flow from day one. So that's great. Okay, guys. Well, I always ask this question on these testimonials, and you guys have been in the trenches. You know what type of work it takes. You know what working with Michael and Katrina is like. Who is this not for? If you were to, kind of rack your brain right now, and you're thinking of maybe a personality type, maybe you're thinking of someone that's a friend or a family member, and you say, oh, geez, I can't imagine them ever, rolling up their sleeves or ever doing this type of a business. What kind of personality traits, what type of, individual kind of comes to mind that you can just say, you know what, you're probably not going to be the right fit for it, rather than go down this path, just kind of go ahead and disqualify yourself?
Right. Why don't you answer first? I do have an answer, but maybe give your take on it.
I don't know. I was going to say, if you have no interest in hospitality, if you have no understanding of interpersonal communication, if you, if you're not willing to put in the hard work that it does take it right off the hop, then obviously this wouldn't be something that you would want to do. What would you say?
Yeah, that was the feelings-based side of it, which I think is really valid. And probably from the more structured side, to me, the first thing is somebody who thinks transactionally is probably not the right person to do this. Meaning, they're at a simple level, they're used to, I'm going to work to 8 hours today, and I'm going to pay exactly this much for my work that I put in. That's somebody I would say that won't do well with this, because the payoff is not guaranteed. Certainly it's working out for us and a lot of people that are getting trained, but it's not guaranteed, and it's also not consistent with the amount of work that you put in. We put in 20 hours into a new property, and we may not see the payback for that for a little while, as opposed to on the next paycheck 2 weeks later. And the other piece would be people who mentally have a very strong affiliation with work and specific hours. So Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, or more frequently it's 8 to 6, or whatever it is these days that companies are asking people to do. For those types of people, I would say that's tough. And the final thing, not to ramble on, is really somebody who does not do well in an unstructured environment, because you're really building a lot of stuff. Even with guidance, you're building out of nothing, and you're taking chaos and organizing it essentially. And some people don't work well with that. They work better coming into a structured system and working within that and being very efficient, but not being able to create their own systems.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. And let's just kind of flip the coin. Who's this for? Obviously, you guys have gravitated towards this. You're successful right now. I'm just meeting you guys for the first time. I certainly have a phenomenal first impression. I think you guys are kind of the yin and the yang, so it's always kind of cool to see husband and wife teams like that. I think Michael and Katrina are cut from the same cloth in that sense. Not everyone's going to be that husband and wife team, but who's this a good fit for? What kind of personality traits are going to translate well into this? Daniella, you said interpersonal communication skills. Obviously, that goes a long way, really, in any vertical, any industry, but particularly in hospitality. Do you second that as far as who it is a good fit for? Kind of that people person. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if you guys could kind of go back through and talk about the flip side of the coins, you could probably just say the exact opposite of what you said on who this is not for.
Yeah, I think it's definitely communication is such a big part of it. I think it's super important for dealing with landlords and dealing with the guests, all of it. I think that's one of the most important things that I think you need to be good at to be good at this business. As far as
I think it's kind of sort of there's two different responses. Who would want to do this and who would be good at doing this are somewhat related.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurial people, absolutely, it's a great fit for them. From a lifestyle perspective, I do think that it helps to have some flexibility in your lifestyle and schedule.
Yeah, you're right.
We have 2 kids and I've got a full-time job. Daniella's more casual, so we have the flexibility through her to handle some of that stuff. That helps a lot, but it's not a complete barrier to entry. It's just something that is beneficial, I would say. And who would do well at this? At least for me, people that have, you mentioned hospitality, but also people that have a sense of urgency around things, trying to solve problems quickly or even answer guests quickly. To my detriment, I was just talking with Daniella about this, I want to move any urgent tasks off of my plate, which is part of the training. But in terms of having a sense of urgency, it's probably to an unhealthy degree. Like I jump on things very quickly and try to resolve them very quickly, which has led to really great reviews. We have all 5-star reviews on all of our properties straight through. So people will in hospitality do well if they've got a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I love that. I appreciate you guys being so candid, even with Michael and Katrina here on the phone. They're still coming out looking pretty squeaky clean up there. Guys, if you're interested, you want more information, go ahead and email BNB Bootcamp at VIPfinancialeducation.com. We're going to go ahead and drop the link below. Put BNB Bootcamp in the conversation in the subject line. Please include your first name, your last name, the best phone number to reach you, and if there's a best time to reach you in the body of the email, shoot that over. Someone from Michael and Katrina's team will be back to you promptly. Guys, Nick and Daniella, it's been an absolute pleasure here having you guys on the channel. Thanks for taking your time out of your day. If you don't mind, we'd like to maybe check back in with you here in a couple months. You guys have a couple deals under your belt. We always love giving those updates if you guys would be willing.
Absolutely. We'd love to.
Okay, fantastic. And guys, if you like content like this, you want more testimonials like this here on the channel, please smash that thumbs up button below. That's going to help out our algorithms. If you're a subscriber already, thanks for coming back. If you are not, hit that subscribe button below and ding that bell notification. That's going to give you alerts as we're bringing new valuable content here on the VIP Financial Education YouTube channel, where we talk about all things credit, capital, and cash flow. Until next time, guys, take care and make it a great day.